Hello, this is Kathy from the Daily Marker. How are you today? I'm on the Stamping Bella blog and I wanted to share part of how I created this card on the left. This one right here, I had some major technical difficulties, so I only have a piece of it to show you. And I don't have time to do it all over, so I apologize for that. And then I used the die cut. This is the stamp set, and then I added the pig on top of the XO. So then I made a quick one with the die cut, and that's super easy, and I'll just explain some of the details on that at the end. Now, I love the crisp red rubber images that you get from the Stamping Bella. It's a nice red rubber, but the only drawback is you can't see it. So I wanted to show you how I did my quote-unquote masking for my card with the pig hanging over the XO. So I have my Misty here. I pulled out the foam, the black foam on the bottom, and I took the packaging from the Stamping Bella stamp and I just used some black ink, and I wanted to check my position here before I stamp on some cardstock. Then I'll kind of know where to place everything. So I'm sliding it under this piece. You could use acetate, but I'm using packaging. It works great. Now this corner piece is brand new from the Misty, from my Sweet Petunia, and it comes with a set of other things and two of these L-shaped magnet pieces, and they're fabulous. I love them. Now I'm just figuring out how I'm going to hang this cute little piggy over the XO. Excuse me. So I don't do this a lot, so it requires a little bit of thinking for me, and I just wanted to share that process. Who knows, there could be a better way, but this is my way and this is what worked for me. So I'm just going to kind of wing it and I have to move this and stamp on top of this acetate to see, just to check the position. So of course you need to ink it up first, and then I'll put that down and we'll see how it looks on there. And then I'll try and duplicate that onto the cardstock. Okay, so I placed the magnet piece down, and I'm just going to lift up that acetate and keep everything intact so I can stamp the cute little piggy first. And I'm just using a foam block, and I'm using the corner to guide, kind of like a stamp positioner, where I needed to put that stamp. And then I got a good impression. Yay for that. You get so spoiled when you use the Misty. And then I'm going to stamp that on some masking paper. And I don't need to mask off the entire image. Okay, so I'm cutting out just a portion of the masked image on the masking paper. Because I see where the X and the O intersect. I only kind of need to cover where that's going to happen. So I don't have to worry about the top part of that stamp. Now I'm just peeling off the back on there and placing it down to see if I need to add any parts. Now, since on the letters, the X and the O, I can always draw in those parts, so I can actually overcut this the little piggy guy. I don't need to fussy cut each little leaf because it's easy to connect the lines. Does that make sense? Now see that one flower, I'm just going to put a piece over there so I don't have to deal with that. And this really is easy. Now I'm not fussy cutting that. I'm just kind of doing a little chunk to go over that flower, and then I did one on the left. Now I'm going to ink up the cute little girl with the X and the O and stamp on top of my masked image here. Super easy. And I love the Misty because I can do it again if the lines aren't dark enough. And there you go. She's so cute. I can't wait to color her. I'm going to ink it up one more time to get a nice dark impression. And I'm ready to go. I always love the unveiling of the masking paper process. So it's super easy to peel up, and it's always fun to just see that image pop off of there. This little piggy's so cute and so happy. Now I'm just going to play around with some colors, but I'm connecting that line on the antenna, her little antler, whatever you want to call it. And then, as I mentioned, it's super easy to connect like the 0, the O. And I just use a fine tip Sharpie to do this. And a lot of times I use this fine tip Sharpie to go over the image once I'm done coloring it. So I'm using some Copic alcohol markers today, and I'm just putting down a light color here. These aren't like the perfect colors. I just kind of grabbed colors and went with it and made it work for me in the end. I'll just keep working an image until I'm happy with it. So it's not even worth telling you what colors, because just use what you have and your result might be quicker than mine ended up being. But I wanted to show you the process. And again, my apologies that I recorded an hour and a half and I ended up getting 20 minutes of video. So I apologize for that, but just subscribe to my YouTube videos and you'll catch more of my coloring. So hopefully you won't miss much. Now, I always like to start with a light color and then bring in a darker color. And since pigs, well, there's so many different colored pigs now, but your traditional is kind of pinky, I grabbed this pinker color and I'm just kind of experimenting. It's kind of pink, but it's a Valentine's, kind of a Valentine-y kind of card, so why not have a pinker pig? So I'm just going to speed this up a little bit because I'm just kind of toying with the colors, messing around. Sometimes you just got to mess around. Actually, before I speed this up, I love how Stampin' Bella has colored images on the packages because it's a great point of reference. And I find myself, it's just like a nice jumping board. I find myself using that for reference, the colored image quite often for reference. And it never quite turns out that way, but it just kind of gives you a starting point. So I'm using my lighter color here to blend out that darker pinky color, and it's not working as well as I want. So no problem. You can use like tip to tip. You can pick up color off the barrel of your alcohol marker, or you can scribble on some packaging. This is the packaging that I stamped on. I'm flipping it over and I'm putting some of that darker color on there. And I always like to add a little bit to the crevices, and then I'll pick up my lighter color marker. I'll take the tip and dip it into that pink color, and it'll help me blend out that line. So you'll see what I mean in a minute here. I'm sure most of you have tried this technique, but if you haven't, I really encourage you to try it. It works great, especially if you don't have a lot of colors. You can find that you don't need a sequence of colors all in a, like BO2, BO5, BO7. You can jump around the color board if you do this, and you'll get more mileage out of your colors. Hope that makes sense. But give this a try, and you can see how you're loading up the tip, and then of course it's going to unload, so you'll need to reload it by picking up more color and just keep going back and forth, and just see how that's blending it out so nice. This really works so well for me, and I hope it does for you too. Now, I'm going to take another color, E21, because I just wasn't liking these two colors together. So I'm just playing around with that. And when all else fails, if you don't like the way something's turning out or it's not blending the way you want, you grab that bottle of blending solution and a nubby rag, and you get it nice and damp, and you stamp that rag on there, and I will show you that. I do this so much, and it just works so well all the time. Always remember to put that lid on, and it is a flammable material, so you have to keep that in mind and keep that away from the kids. Now, if you oversaturate your image, of course, it's going to bleed out of the lines. I'm trying it on the back. I've never done that before. But you can see on my grid paper here that some of that color was removed. So if you keep repeating it, you'll keep removing more color. Now you might want to let it dry in between so you don't get a lot of bleeding out of the lines. And you can use your heat gun in between, but do bear in mind that it is flammable. So try this. This has been the best investment for me, is this bottle of blending solution, and it lasts a really long time. And you can experiment with different textures, but honestly, I don't love coloring critters, and I love the texture you get from this. So it's just kind of a great cheat. It works great. And I'm just flapping my paper to dry it because I'm too lazy to get up and get my heat gun. Now, I'm just going to go around. Well, first I want to add a little bit of gray shading to the inside of the ears. And I'll blend this out and make it lighter. So when you look at the final image, there's just a little bit of gray. But I picked up my E000 just to smooth out that line a little bit and get a little bit more of that, a lighter sweet spot in the ear. Now, while I futz around adding a little bit more color on the pig, again, my apologies that I had major technical difficulties, and this wasn't something that was easy to do again. But once I finished coloring everything, I went back with some colored pencils, and I'll share that on another video another day, and I just added a little bit more highlights in the hair, on the dress. You can see a white line on the X here and on the 0, the kiss, the hug. And then I took my gel pen and I added white highlights to the flowers and little dots on the pig. And then I added glossy accents to his glasses and to the little heart antennas and her shoes. And I stenciled background on both cards. I used Simon Says Stamp dot stencil. And this one I just die cut. I drew a pattern on her dress so I didn't have to do much shading. And I used the texture rag on the kiss and hug on the simpler card on the right. So thank you for watching. Thank you for your understanding, and have a great day. All the supplies are listed in the description, and go to my blog, thedailymarker.com, for more info. Thank you. Bye-bye.